What's up, y'all? If you clicked on this video, yeah. So if you're Asian American and you feel like you're lost, you feel like you're lacking an identity, this video is for you because I was that person who lacked identity growing up. Grew up with immigrant parents, spoke the language at home. I'm Vietnamese, so I spoke Vietnamese at home with my parents, but it wasn't like I never went to school for it. So I grew up just talking to them. So I only learned how to speak in basic phrases and what I needed. And because I grew up that way, I grew up like not belonging in a particular group because I feel like I didn't connect with people. I constantly moved. So my situation is obviously unique, but there wasn't many other people like me, like Vietnamese people. There were Filipinos, but they had their own clique, right? And with the fact of like, they were emotionally unavailable. I was trying to find myself. I lacked the confidence. I was skinny. I was socially awkward. As a result, like, I didn't have a lot of common interests because my common interests were always video games and anime and doing all that sort of thing because I grew up playing video games, Minecraft, and then I grew up with like the Vietnamese people that I did get to play with. They were into games. They played League, or not that time. They didn't play League. They played Roblox, Minecraft, all that stuff, and I got into that. I was super excited, but they were the very few people that I shared few interests with. And then, unfortunately, I hung out with other people that had toxic traits, and I embodied those toxic traits, and I ended up pushing those friends away. And I look back, it's like, that's probably why I was like alone too. But anyways, I lacked the confidence growing up too, because I was always surrounded by people. I would always compare. I would always wonder, like, why am I not as competent as these people? Why am I socially lacking? At that time, like, boys used girls as a way to measure self-worth. Like, can you talk to a girl? Can you kiss a girl? Things like that, right? I fell into that rabbit hole, and that really ruined my self-esteem because I had a moral compass. I believed I was a hopeless romantic due to like movies, anime. Anyways, all of this yapping, right, if you made it this far, is to show that I understand you and I've been there before. And what made the catalyst for change was finally growing up to an age where my brain chemistry developed, and I finally understood where my parents came from, because I grew up resenting them as well. It's a long story. But I decided that it was time to change for them. Like, first find myself, because I needed to save myself. It was time to pick my ass up off of the ground and stop self-pitying and feeling sorry for myself that nobody was there for me ever and nobody could understand me. And I decided to take matters into my own hands. And so during COVID, that was when I was like going through it. It was the worst. I was addicted to video games, addicted to porn, addicted to watching anime, and coping through those things because I had the lack of self-esteem. I tried talking to girls, and I started like I was crushed by every interaction because I thought like every time I interacted with girls, it was for lustful intentions, but I wanted to have like a loving relationship. But it doesn't work that way because I was coming from bad intentions in the first place. And I would get crushed, disappointed. I got heartbroken at times. And I never really understood why I acted that way. But the more I grew up, the more I understood. And I started to feel bad for my parents because they didn't raise a pussy-ass son. And so that's when self-development started to happen, right? I started hitting the gym. But not just to hit the gym. It started internally. It started like, why did I want to change? Like, what am I experiencing? What are the pains currently that I'm ashamed of? I hated to look at myself in the mirror. I was so skinny. I was not attractive. I didn't dress the part. Like, I needed a better haircut. Internally, I was full of hatred. I was full of incel behavior. Like, low negative frequency behavior because I didn't have a routine. I didn't have any consistency or stability in my life. It was very chaotic. I woke up whenever I wanted. I would play video games until like 3 a.m. at night. And then like I would wake up, like I would be forcing myself to wake up and I would hate it. I wouldn't like waking up in the morning. But then I realized, like, if I'm going to continue to go down this path, it's not going to be anywhere where I can say that I'm proud of. Like the younger me wouldn't be proud of that. And I've always wondered, I've always longed for like a role model. And sorry, that was my dad. And I made a decision to start becoming the person who I longed to be, who I needed. And that's when life started to get better. Not instantly, but gradually over time, because self-improvement is a very messy, chaotic process, or for lack of a better term. It's very chaotic, it's very messy. You're gonna wonder at times, like, is this even right? I would rather play video games and go back to my old ways, but that's not change. That's you regressing back to who you were. And if you want to be somebody who you long to be, it's going to take some uncomfortable change. It takes a decision. It starts with the decision inside your head to start becoming the person who you can be proud of, to start representing a culture that you always put down and put away and never made an effort towards. And so you would start making an effort to rekindle your relationship with your parents, to start talking to friends who spoke Vietnamese, and started using these HelloTalk apps, self-learning, listening to YouTube music, and actually going to the motherland of Vietnam to actually reconnect with the culture, with your best friend who is Vietnamese, and to know what it was like, what history could have been like for my parents, and finally understanding where they came from and understanding the complex situation of the diaspora of Vietnamese people. But yeah, guys, it gets deeper than that. So if you're Asian American, know your history, get jacked physically, mentally, spiritually. I encourage you to stop living life on autopilot and to start living your life intentionally and finding out the truth of everything in this world and your life specifically. This is your story. Go get jacked.